Hello and welcome. Just doing a nice soft landscape today, at least that's the intention. You can see I'm using a black canvas, starting in the middle with this nice soft pinky colour. Just going to deepen that as we move away from the centre of that. I will see whether this is sunrise or sunset when we're done. Now my son this morning suggested I do a big mountain, but again, we'll see when we're done how it turns out. The colours I'm using today are titanium white, ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, cadmium yellow, yellow ochre, burnt sienna and burnt umber. So I just have to remember what colours I put out for a second there. You can see I'm just throwing these colours in for the moment. Looks like a weird coloured tunnel, doesn't it? I'm just using the ultramarine, alizarin crimson and burnt umber for these darker corners. Okay, now that we have this very strange looking sky put in, let's blend it and make it look a little less strange. Before that, excuse me, I forgot to take the lid off the... Oh, that's stuck well. There we go. Now, just swizz that brush. Paint out of it. Oh, I'm not very organised this morning. I don't even have tissue toner. Oh dear. Right, let's do something about this crazy sky. It's using a number 2 Nick Pro brush. I'm not sure if that's an inch and a half or whatever. Just gonna to blend these colours. I'm starting in the lighter colour and working out so we don't contaminate these light colours with the dark. I especially don't want to bring blue into that centre. I will end up with an awful green. Nobody wants green in the sky. Get rid of some of the colour that the brush has picked up. I don't think this brush is so good for blending as my usual old makeup brush. If you've been watching, you know that I do like to blend with the old makeup brush. Gives me nice soft blends. This is not really doing. This brush might have been better for the... Oh, excuse me, my voice is disappearing in a moment. I thought this brush might have been better for blending a large area like the whole sky, but I'm not entirely sure that it is. Might have to come in now, it's leaving more marks than it's taking out, so I'll put that down and let's go towards Faithful. Yeah, it blends out much better, can you see? Takes out much more of the brush marks, softens everything. So don't worry if you can't afford one of these proper blending brushes, just grab an old makeup brush. Or if you don't happen to have old makeup brushes, they're fairly cheap to pick up. You don't need anything spectacular. Oh yeah. Let's blend that out nice. Now bring it further out and blend into that scale. We're picking up blue and bringing it in. That's exactly what we said we didn't want to do. Okay. A fair bit of this sky is going to be covered, so it doesn't really matter if it's not perfect. In fact, it doesn't matter at all if it's not perfect. One of my rules of painting is if you're having fun, no matter however it turns out, it's perfect. Because you've had fun making it. We already have some movement that appears to be what could be clouds in there. We have some different shades and that centre might be a little too bright, but we can fix that bringing clouds over. So I don't want that blue in clouds in that centre because again we don't want green. I use the Elysian Crimson and knock that back with a touch of burnt umber so it's not too pink. I'm just going to put a hint of a cloud there. And because it's down in near the horizon, we don't want great big clouds, we just want thin clouds so they look further away. Just mix up a little more colour. Might be a bit too dark, and some white again. Using the tip of that filbert brush, just to bring some stringy clouds across the bottom. Yeah, they don't look particularly cloud-like at the moment, but oh dear, splashing very far off. There we go. And now I'll add a little more blue to this, make it more of a purple, and we can make a cloud slightly bigger. To get the feeling of depth, you need your clouds to be smaller towards the horizon, getting larger as they rise up, so it looks like they're coming overhead. I know this is not the way I generally do clouds, but I thought I'd play with something different today, see how it looks. I'm also today trying to get less of the brush noise on the microphone. Right, just put that in there. Now we need to give the makeup brush a squash, get rid of some of the paint and just very gently tap. Just want to knock these clouds right back into the sky, so they look like part of the sky rather than something that's stuck on. Every so often just come back to your tissue and knock off the colour that the brush is picking up. Just keep gently knocking these clouds back. This is just for the first layer of clouds. Let's see how that's looking. Oh, it's looking okay so far. And this canvas is not an expensive canvas. You know, those of you who have watched previous videos know I don't do expensive. I can't afford to do expensive. Everything I do is about enjoying art on a tight budget. Let's just squidge that blending brush. Okay, now I want to use a different brush for the clouds now. Let's just clean that filbert brush out. And we've used that for the sky and for the first lot of cloud. Now I want, if I can find it, there it is, my favourite cloud brush. It's about to break this, you can see, it has a real wobble on it. I won't be able to use this for much longer. I need a little, some of that colour. Now let's just squidge around. Doesn't matter if we're following the previous clouds. It's just a second layer. One thing I forgot to do there, I had to do a mix more colour, is as you're doing this, your brush is picking up the colour that's on the canvas, so just remember to give it a wipe in between. And remember, we want bigger clouds towards the top, so they seem as if they're more overhead. And you just throw them in however you like. There's no hard and fast rule about where your clouds need to go. It's your sky, put them where you want. Just alter the colour slightly. You'll notice this layer of cloud is brighter. We're building up our layers. And I am trying to avoid getting just uniform shapes or straight lines. And then obviously as we come towards the horizon, we're making the clouds more linear and straight to give that impression of distance. Now doesn't that look a mess? Okay, back with the blender brush, just get some more clean tissue, give it a good scrub before we start. Excuse my throat, I have a little bit of a hoarse throat today, sore throat, scratchy throat. I have a throat. Of course we all have a throat, it's just something we say in our family when something hurts. So just knocking them back, trying not to disturb the paint so much as to just lift off what we don't need to give a more fluffy, misty, almost there kind of feel to these. And every so often I am scrubbing the brush to get some paint off, because obviously this brush, it's not just moving this paint around, it's taking paint, it's picking up the colour we just put on, excuse me, but also the colour underneath it. You've probably noticed I'm not getting too close to the edges because there's a fair chance I'm going to paint over the edges. Maybe. I might not. I might have to come back and put something over those edges, you know. Okay, just knock this one a little further back, it just looks a bit stuck on. I do prefer my skies to look quite subtle. No hard edges, everything nice and soft. That's better. Okay. So I'll put another row, yeah, let's put another layer of cloud on, just for the fun of it. Add a bit of red, a bit of blue, also alizarin crimson and ultramarine. Let's get our terminology right. A bit of white. Add some linseed oil because I still haven't got to the bottom of that really thick white tube, so I'm still having to go at it with the linseed oil to make it spread. Stick a tiny bit, ooh, tiny bit. That was burnt sienna I just added, and it was a little enthusiastic. Okay, I think that'll do for my next cloud colour, just for something different. I don't want to overdo it with this one because it is quite pink. I just want to add a little here and there. Okay. See, there's no order to how I'm putting these clouds in, I'm just throwing them in, just for fun, and then blending them back, just to integrate them into what we've already got in that sky. I want to give it movement and I want to give it interest. I don't want a flat, boring sky. I don't want it to be overly dramatic, which is why I'm blending everything out, getting rid of all the hard edges. Now this canvas is a 20cm by 30cm, so it is quite small. Okay, it's not an expensive one. If you're in the UK, then you'll be familiar with a shop called Home Bargains. And this canvas is part of a set of 3 that you can get from there. The canvases in the set are 20 by 30, which is this one, 30 by 40 and 40 by 50, and the whole set of 3 costs, I think, £4.99. Very cheap canvas. At those prices, it doesn't cost much to paint. Let's have a step back and see how that's looking. Yeah, I quite like that. That's different, isn't it? I think I need to add something a little darker just over this area where it's still very bright. So, grab my wonky cloud brush again, dry it off. I'm going to be very brave and add some blue to this colour. So even though we are over the yellow, I think, with the alizarin crimson and the, go on, burnt sienna in there, less likely to get green. I just want something darker right there, just to break that up. And of course, if you put a colour in one place, you really do need to add it to all places. So I'm just going to darken it and add it around just for fun. Add some more colour. Let's have some dark clouds up here. Maybe a little out towards those edges. Okay. I think this is going to be the last layer of clouds to play with. Just knock that back so that it's barely there, it just breaks up that yellow in the middle. And then remember to keep giving your blender brush a scrub to get rid of colour that it's picking up. And of course, because the makeup brush is round, I can get a little more use out of it than a square or flat brush or whatever, because I can twist and use a different area of the brush without changing the effect of the blending. Scrub, come back and blend a little more. Okay. I just want to step back and see how that's looking when I finish blending it. Good enough. And good enough is better than perfect, as we know. So next, let's see, what shall we do? Oh, let's drag some of that down. Let's make water just there. It might not stay there, but hey. No, it probably won't stay there, as I like looking at. Never mind. It don't matter. I think maybe we will try a mountain like my squad. First of all, let's clean off the cloud brush. Lay it down so we don't end up breaking it. Right. We'll go back to the big filbert brush. And, bring that down. Some more white. That's a little too blue. Bring it back a bit. And a bit more. Okay. That's someone to the mountain. Let's give him a mountain. No, I'm not keen on a mountain colour. Let's do something about that. I'll try again. Yeah, I suppose that'll do. It's not the most convincing mountain colour, but It's just a base. Let's fill it in. And you can probably tell by the sound of the brush on the canvas I'm really scrubbing on it. A little more of the blue and a little more of the ultra, no, not ultra, that was the ultramarine, the blue. This is burnt umber. Excuse me, today apparently my brain doesn't want to work. That's another big hill coming right across the front of that one. Stick some colour in. Blend it out a little. Oh, that's a strange little lump on there. Oh, well. As we know, we're not about perfection, we're about enjoying the process. Having fun and just playing. That's all we're doing. Nobody cares if it's perfect, nobody cares if it's wrong, it's just fun. Okay, let's clean up this palette a little. Get rid of some of this colour. And I do like to blend over the same colour, but sometimes, because we started with a lot of white in the original colour, it can be a bit of a pig to get darker. So, start with a healthy bit of blue there, and of red, alizarin even, ultramarine and alizarin. Touch of white, and I do only mean a touch of white, and then some burnt umber. You can see we're getting quite a dark colour here. This is going to be the shadow side, and bring some of that across and add a fair bit more white, and we'll get our highlight side for our mountains. May as well just take what's left of the white, haven't we? Give it here. Okay. A bit of linseed oil, because as we know, the white's very fair, because blah de blah de blah, we've said it a million times. And our light is coming from the middle here, so our highlights are going to be on this side of this mountain and this side of this mountain, rather than both. Yes, you know what I mean. I don't need to, you know, silly. Just adding some highlights to that mountain. Get rid of some of that heavy paint on that brush. So put some more highlight down. Mountains are not exactly my strong suit. Yeah, we'll play with it. My son suggested a mountain would be fun, so hey. Looks really rough, doesn't it? It's okay. it will be blended and all sorts. It's a good job I've got the paper tablecloth on top of this bedroom furniture. I just missed the tablecloth and hit the bedside cabinet. That would not be good. As I'm sure you can imagine, because hubby would be unimpressed with ruined bedroom furniture. But having had to move from the caravan, I've had to improvise and make do as we do. Okay. I may need some more darker shadow colour there. You can see that's very dark, but I'm not worried because blending is good. Clean that up because I have missed a highlight that I need to go back to. Right there. Just need a bit more highlight right there. Okay. Clean this brush again. That's looking rather strange through the camera. Okay, back to the good old blending brush. Give it a brush. I don't want to see any brush marks. Want to soften all these highlights and shadows so the detail is very little. I'm going to have to put way more shadow in that, aren't I? Keep knocking these highlights and shadows back to soften everything. I want the illusion of distance, which means everything needs to be soft and indistinct. Okay, those highlights have taken over a bit, so let's have some more of this shadow colour through. It's one thing not wanting things distinct, but you do want something to show that it's not all flat. I'm waffling. Am I even making sense? I don't know. I'm having fun. Does it matter if I make sense? Not really. Okay. Knock that all back again. I think that'll do. Just want to use a blending brush just to... Oh, and there goes the what's it? Go on. Yeah, it's one of those disposable paper tablecloths that I'd stuck to the wall, so I didn't... Not that I even like this wallpaper. We haven't got around to decorating since we moved in. The wallpaper's hideous, so I'm not even entirely sure why I was trying to protect it, so we'll just leave that. Give that blender brush a good squidge. Now what I think I need to do, because there's a bit of paint on there. Excuse the banging and clattering, I was just trying to fall over something. I'm just going to put this blue roll over that. And I'm going to allow that to just soak up some of the oil in that paint so that we don't end up mud mixing when we come to paint over it. So, I'm going to go make myself a coffee. And I'll be back in 10 minutes or so. Although for you it will be almost instant. I'll be back shortly to finish painting. And we're back for a little more craziness with the brush. Let's just take this off. You can see how much oil has come out onto this blue roll. Make us much less likely to be mixing mud. Just put those two in half so I can use them for, well, whatever. Okay. That's okay. Let's just tweak the camera angle ever so slightly so that we're actually... That's better. And we'll carry on. Right, what shall we do? What shall we do? I think it's time to bring some middle ground and foreground in, isn't it? Yeah, so we'll start with blah-de-blah-de-blah. Oh, let's use the fan brush. I don't often use the fan brush. As you can see, I've cleaned my palette. Just because, yeah, it was... Oh, I'm wearing my white out. Not going to get very far without that, are we? And look how much is not left in this. Squeeze some of that out. I'm not going to get much more out of that tube, and then we can use a tube that's hopefully not silly thick. Right. Fan brush, trees. A bit of white because we don't want them too dark. Some blue. Maybe a little yellow ochre. A little more yellow ochre. Ooh, not that much. Let's not blue back in. And a touch of that burnt umber to knock it back, because we don't want anything too brightly coloured at the moment. Tiny touch more white. Tap that into the ends. Right, so let's... No, that's too light. And some more of that burnt umber and blue. Oh, sorry, burnt umber and ultramarine. Darken that slightly. Yeah, that's better, isn't it? It is on the canvas. How does it show up on the camera? Oh yeah, good enough. Just want an indication of trees back here. And it is just an indication. I don't want anything that's too defined. And over here, you See, I'm trying not to get a straight line with this. I want something that's pickledy and the indication that some trees are taller than others and whatnot. And tiny hint of the ultramarine, no, on this one, and ultramarine and more burnt umber. Let's complete a bit darker. Back over there. You see it's quite a bit darker. But it's also going to mix with what we've already got down. Just to give us the hint of another row of trees. And for this I could use a flat brush or a filbert brush. But just because I don't generally use the fan brush, I thought I'd give it a go. It's starting to mix with what's already there, so let's darken it up again. Well, that seems very blue, doesn't it? Knock it back. Remember to put some taller trees and some smaller trees in there and let it mix with what's already down. Don't want anything to be too defined. Okay, let's have a go. Just for fun of it. It's not something I've done before. I don't usually use this brush like I've said, so this could be fun. Let's do one of these funky evergreens that people do. Yeah, I'm not sure I like it, but hey. Let's try another one. Yeah, again, not sure I like it, but we can always cover it, can't we? And a little light to that. And just add a little highlight to this side. Different. Or maybe a little highlight on the side of this one. Yeah, we might go over that. I'm not impressed. I don't think it's really great, but hey. Bring some more of that yellow ochre into that, so that's something a little more green. We're getting something like, I suppose. Yeah, I can't say I'm a fan of the fan brush. I might not bother with it in future. But okay, let's get rid of that brush. We're not impressed. Clean it out, dry it off, and put it where we're not going to let it again. Okay. Move this down. So we do want some water here. Probably not going to end up with quite this much. Oh, this easily so noisy. Right, I want something more green now. I didn't put any sap green out, did I? Oh, never mind. Not the end of the world. Just a row of something there. We can play with it later. Put some of that into reflections. Switch across it. That's very green. Oh dear. Oh, excuse me. Note to self, try not to laugh, it makes you cough. Have a little blue and white to this and take some of that out. Wipe the brush off, squidge across. That looks even better, so we'll paint over it, not a problem. Let's get a bit of this blue roll and just squidge it off. See how easy that is? If you don't like what you've got, of course you can take it off. I actually prefer that. Yeah, well, what to do. Let's have some grass. Some grassy bits. Using the 2 yellows and the ultramarine. Touch of burnt umber to knock it back. And just hold that still, tap across. Just tapping. Doesn't matter that it's uneven because we're coming back to it. Just tapping. I'm definitely painting over those trees, they're awful. Add some more dark to that, some more ultramarine. Something darker in the corners. Because remember our light source is in the middle here, so our corners want to be getting less light. I'll just darken those up. I'm going to need some more ultramarine out. I suppose it's starting to look something like. We'll have to be using some smaller brushes at some point. Let's get this ultramarine put out before we forget. There we go, just a little. I'll always bring more out if I need to. Right, let's get rid of that big fat brush. Use a little full, well, not little but smaller filbert brush. F8. Right, what are we doing? I want something dark here. And just over the top, just Add some highlights. Maybe a little too much highlight. Oh, but we can blend. You can always blend. It's not a huge deal. Right. Move the brush a little. Yeah, I do feel rather self-conscious. Stood here in the corner of the bedroom with a brush, waffling away to myself. Wonder if anybody's ever going to find it interesting enough to hang around and watch. I suppose every YouTuber goes through that. When they first start out and they're wondering why they're waffling to themselves. Mix some of that back again. Oh, there we go. The focus went off a bit there. I bet it was focusing on the hand instead of the brush, wasn't it? I do apologise. Right. What should we do next? Oh, let's have a play with a palette knife. Tease a bit of white and some linseed oil, or maybe a touch of that, and a touch of this, and a touch of the other. That's a bit too much of the linseed oil, I do believe. Wipe that off. Just that little sand. How do we do it? Scudge across. Oh, that's awful, isn't it? Yeah, we'll be taking that off. See how easy that is? Just take it off. Aren't I glad right now that I say we're not doing anything perfect, we'll just play it. Put that back in. Okay, that was just a little flat brush that I used there. Have another go with this. See what that does. Oh yeah. This will scrub it straight in. Maybe we've got a cliff down there, who knows. Maybe we're just going to paint over it because we really don't have the hang of the palette knife. Can you not just tell that I don't very often do this? Palette knives are, well, I would say we use more for mixing. We've been using a brush. Maybe I'm just not the kind of person who should be allowed loose with a palette knife. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that I'm successful with that. Let's just do this and not squidging. I'm just going to blow that off and see what that does. Maybe not, eh? I think dragging it out with the brush looks better than the palette knife. Maybe that's just wishful thinking. Stick some of this ultramarine back in back here. What does that do? Yeah, okay. Not fantastic, but add some. It's just occurred to me that we don't really have a great deal of colour down here, do we? Only what we put down and scrubbed off. let's add a little, some different shades in, and ooh, that's a different shade, it's not white. Although maybe we should have more light in there, because we do have all this light up there in the sky, don't we? Go on, hold up how many people panicked there because I thought I was going to put a strike, blah, 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 strike on the sky. Don't mind my inability to speak, it's a thing. Something my kids find hilarious. Waffle, waffle, waffle. Here I stand in the corner of the bedroom talking to myself, wondering if anybody's ever going to find it interesting enough to hang around and listen. I could be the only person that ever listens to this waffle. Yes, YouTube videos bring a whole new meaning to talking to yourself. I'm too light now, aren't I? Oh dear. Hee-dee-dee-dee-dee. So good fun and games. Obviously they say so fun and games till somebody loses an eye. I hope that's not going to happen while I'm painting. It's not the kind of thing you'd expect to happen while I'm painting. Let's put myself in the eye with a paintbrush. Hands up, who's bored of the waffle? Yeah, I'm making a right pixie of this one, aren't I? Oh, that's diagonal stripes just will not bugger off. Get away, come on. Go somewhere else and annoy someone else. Do have sky colours in there yet? I don't think we do, they just keep disappearing. Oh, do you know what? I'm just going to stop playing with that water and leave it alone. I need to start doing something with something else. Right, let's see. What something can we do with something else? Well, we can clean the palette for a start. It's a mess. Get rid of all this mud. Muddy, muddy mud. And we've used up the top, so let's off some of that out. See if I can get the top off. There we go. Another touch of burnt umber. Not a lot because we're coming towards the end of the painting. I don't want too much paint left on the palette. Okay. Let's do something silly. Let's use I think we'll use the straight brush. And we'll have burnt umber. Hang on, my palette camera's died, so I shall again be back in a moment. And we're back again with a new battery in the palette camera. Brown, burnt umber, ultramarine, alizarin crimson, more ultramarine. Now let's get rid of these awful trees that we didn't like, or that I didn't like, by doing one of my favourites, a nice dark bushy corner. And that's it, get rid of those silly trees. I'm not a fan of them, so I'll never be doing that again in a hurry. I'm not saying I'll never do it. I might just practice and have another go one day. But for now, I want rid of them because they were awful. Let's bring this bugger right up there. Lots of shadow to this side of the painting. See, we've got slightly different shades for this because let's come out across that water a little. Why not? Why not? What was I saying? Oh yeah, different shades, as I'm mixing up slightly different colours, but we don't just want one flat colour, even though I want it all dark. I don't want one flat, awful, boring colour. I want a little bit of variety in there. Now I need a little balance. I'm going to have to put something in this corner, but I don't think I'm going to go quite so wild in this corner. We'll just keep it little. And I get a variety of colours. Yeah, I think that'll do. Right, now you may have to bear with me because I think I want to get a bit of sap green out to play with. Just give me a second. This is green continues. And a little of that to the palette. Now then, some green, catch yellow, a little yellow umber, stick a little bit of white in there, more catch yellow. Right, just tap it into the ends of the brush, and I'm going to just indicate something on here. Something, that's very technical, isn't it? If you've been watching any of my videos, you know I'm not technical. I don't do technical. I do fun. The emphasis is definitely on fun. If you're not having fun, you're doing something wrong. Should have had some tap red out, but I'm not getting that out like that. Add some crumbs into that. Add some more cad yellow. Let's have something a little warmer. Stick something on here. Warmer. that'll do for now. I'll come back with some more highlights. So, and some of that, and some of that, and some of that. It's not really doing a great deal, but knocking the camera with my big fat head. See, with this much bigger canvas, I've had to move the camera. Well, it's not much bigger, but it's bigger. I had to move the camera back and it's right where my head wants to be. Okay, we're getting there. Slowly but surely, slowly but surely. I sound awful, don't I? Yeah, while I was having my coffee, while the blue roll was doing his thing, I had this silly little ditty going through my brain, saying, waffle, waffle, mutter, mutter. She don't know what she's saying, because she's a nutter. Yeah, you're probably agreeing with that assessment, right? No, of course I do sound like a bit of a nutter. I'm not entirely sure I'm liking any of this today, but as we've already established in previous videos, if I don't like it, I can paint over. Nothing's a wasted canvas, everything's just fun. I seem to have used all the cad yellow. Is it even looking like trees and bushes? I don't know. The strangest trees and bushes I've ever seen, but hey, who cares? Fun is fun, right? I can't say this is one of my favourites. My favourite of all time is hid. Well, it's not hid, it's hung, not hid, hung. Two different words. It's hung right above the coat rack in the hallway. Okay, now I've done that, let's put that brush in there. I'm going to use the blue roll, scrunch it up. I'm going to do that. Discus gun. Just take some of the harshness out of some of those colours. You know, if you've watched any of my videos, you've probably already figured out that I'm all about muted and about soft and blending and nothing in your face harsh. That's too bright. Get back. I'm going to call that done, because if I do any more I'm just going to ruin it completely. I might come back to it another day, I might do a little bit of something with it. But for now I'm going to call that done. So thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, well done. Completely, actually, well done. I'm not entirely sure I would have watched it this far, but hey. It is what it is, it's fun. It's not a tutorial, it's not a you must do this, it's a grab your paintbrush, grab some paint, grab a canvas and play. That's what we do, isn't it? So anyway, well done if you've got this far. Hope to see you again. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.